Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you are listening to this podcast. If this is your first time listening to North London Is, just to remind you, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and now I'm pleased to say also on YouTube. Wow, what a day yesterday. I was at the lane for a quite incredible last minute winner again against Liverpool. What did you make of it, Pez?
I'm really speechless, and I'm glad that we're doing the podcast this morning when I've had time to gather my thoughts on the Arsenal Bournemouth game, of which I watched 100 minutes because every game now goes on for about an hour after. And then what I saw at White Hart Lane was possibly the third most corrupt game I think I've ever watched.
Oh, here we go.
I'm getting old. I'm getting old. I admit that. The Chelsea-Barcelona game of, do you know what? I don't even know when it was, when Drogba literally went up to the screen at the end of the game and then up to the camera, was by far away. The Arsenal-Manchester United game when they God bless Jose Antonio Reyes and Rooney died. I mean, that game forever will be. I can't. And yesterday, if I'm a Liverpool fan yesterday, I mean, obviously, and I'm not actually taking the mickey. Obviously, Spurs this morning or tomorrow morning will offer to replay the game. Surely, surely that's going to happen.
No, obviously, right. But hold on, right.
I don't want to hear about past games.
No, right. You keep on going about corrupt, right? It was an awful decision yesterday. Don't get me wrong, right?
Which one?
Right?
Which one? Are you talking about? Which one?
I'm talking about the goal that was disallowed, right? But a few things on that, right? Before VAR was introduced, right, the linesman ruled that offside. So if we didn't have VAR, nothing would have happened, right? Okay, maybe it was offside, maybe it was tight. Linesman gave offside.
Doesn't that make it worse, what you've just said? So the linesman has put his flag up and he's right there.
Yeah, he is. And I'm literally in line, right, where I sit in the West Lower. I'm in line, right? And my initial reaction was, that's tight. He looked on, right? I must admit, right? Now, what has come out since the game and more this morning is VAR officials thought that the officials at the game had given the goal. So they quickly checked it.
But you just told me
They quickly checked it and said, complete, right? Thinking they had rightly given the goal.
But honestly, so just listen to what you've just said. The linesman has put his flag up for offside.
Yeah.
Listen, let's say, for instance, he honestly thought it was offside, okay? How on earth could VAR, and I think it's Darren English, was he in the
England, I think, yeah.
Think that the decision on pitch was that it was a goal if the linesman...
Listen, I'm not defending it, right?
It's despicable. The guy... Forget Spurs for a minute. Forget Spurs Liverpool. The guy should not be employed for 6 months, Jules. He should not be employed.
I'm agreeing we got away with that decision. Now, there's another few things, right? There's still more than half the game to go at that. And Liverpool are down to 10 men. So are you saying, had that gone in, the game would have 100% guaranteed finished 1-0 to Liverpool?
Spurs fans...
It wasn't the last minute, like Mendes' goal against Man United, right, in 2005, right, which cost us a place in Europe, right, which in the 89th minute.
And that's why VAR was brought in, Jules. That's why VAR was brought in. Now, let me go back. Let's go right back. We're talking about the
Sissoko in the Champions League final.
But that was a handball.
Corrupt decisions, or were they just bad decisions?
I think that's a handball, though. It's it's whether they think it's a handball, whatever the rules are.
It's his armpit, right? Which
No.
they said
Hold on.
the sleeve of the shirt is not handball. They changed the rule after that.
No, fine. But yesterday, is he offside? Yes or no? It's like saying, "Am I good looking or am I ugly?" There's a
You don't want me to answer that.
No. There's varying answers. There's not a varying answer. Is he offside? Yes or no? He is onside. Let's go back. The red card. Now, the red card on Curtis Jones, I'm obviously going to say it was a disgusting decision because I'm going to be anti-Spurs and da-da-da-da. You've got to watch when they've slowed it down. And by the way, terrible from Spurs showing it on the screen yesterday. Diabolical because they've showed the wrong angle. He's won the ball and his foot has then gone
over the top on the ball and slipped.
Yeah.
I don't think he meant to do Basuma at all. Right? I don't think it was a malicious challenge. Right?
It's not a red card, and far worse than that. Although I have to blame Jota was for the second yellow because you've got to have the calmness to realise that you're at a boisterous stadium. They're going to want you now sent off. Is the first yellow for Jota? Is bordering on. It's not bordering. It's bordering on insanity. The first. Have you watched the first?
What you don't know, right? He did two little niggles before that, right? Which he was lucky not to get booked, right? Now
I watched the game. That's fair. That's a fair point. I'm going to give you that one because he did actually come on.
And I say, okay, the first one was a harsh yellow, but whether there was intent or not, he still. When you're running at speed, any touch, right? He did foul him. Now, I'm not saying that should have been a booking, right? But
the second one is a booking. The second one's a booking.
It was stupid, right?
No,
his head's gone.
But
he
also
is running at him.
The inconsistency. Last week.
Yeah, but you talk about inconsistency. I'm going to pick you up here, right? When Spurs played Man United, you didn't think Romero was a handball, all right? But you thought Romero's was a handball, obviously, against you last week. Very similar incidences.
Last week,
given, one's not.
Last week, Romero's actually playing cricket. He's playing cricket. He's a wicket keeper last week. He's literally caught the ball. He's literally no.
It was hit at him from about 2 yards, if that.
The reason why I think last week was.
And why did VAR not properly review the challenge on our keeper?
Yeah. Again.
More luck with judgment, he didn't break his leg.
Nketiah for me, is a red card. Okay, for me. Yeah. He got lucky that he didn't actually the way that
these
the
aren't corrupt decisions. These
are
hold
on.
Decisions.
But these when you've got a challenge like Jones's and Nketiah's, you're going back in time. Harry Kane's against Robertson. Do you remember 3 years ago at White Hart Lane when he only got a yellow? I mean, that was one. These are all
about Jota last season.
No, hold on. Let me finish my point. These are all decisions that Arsenal fans and Spurs fans are going to disagree on. Liverpool fans and Man United, these are going to disagree on. We're all going to have our views. What happened yesterday at White Hart Lane with then being told that they actually thought it was a goal. It cannot. The game has gone. And Spurs should do the honourable thing like Arsenal did against Sheffield United all those years ago with Wenger. And they've got to replay the game.
I would be happy if
we're going to replay the game.
If they replay the Champions League final.
They're going to replay the game, aren't they?
What, the Champions League final?
No, Levy's going to come out today, and he's got to. Seriously.
Well, Levy might, because that's another 5 million revenue from gate receipts. So he could replay it. Liverpool yesterday are going to be so dumbfounded at what went on. Let me just leave you with a couple of other points, because I've done my analysis on this game. Udogie, who before it went down to 10 men, got booked again like he did last week, waved a yellow card when there was a naughty foul. I think it was Jota on him. Now, I think, and I'm right in saying, Odegaard and Basuma last week
got booked for yellow cards, for waving cards. Why isn't Udogie being sent off? Now, I know you're going to say there's loads of inconsistencies, and I respect you for that because there are loads of inconsistencies. But Udogie waves a yellow card. He's already on a yellow card. He doesn't get sent off. Spurs not only got away with it yesterday, it was theft. It was theft. It was lunacy.
Rubbish, right? I'll tell you on two things, right? Their goal led from a free kick of Udogie, and I think booking, right, which wasn't actually even a foul. He actually got the ball. Right?
Are you talking about which goal? Because they scored a few yesterday.
Liverpool's goal just before half time.
Not Diaz's goal.
Not Diaz, because that wasn't a goal.
By the way, and what a great goal it was, Diaz's goal.
Yeah, he took it beautifully. But Udogie gave away a free kick leading up to their goal, which wasn't a foul, right? It wasn't even a booking, right? But you can't say if Diaz's goal was allowed, right, which was I think about 5 minutes before half time, right? There's no way you can say with 100% guarantee Liverpool would have held on to a 1-0 win with 10 men for 50 odd minutes, right? We don't know. No one knows, right? So you can't. If that had happened in the last minute, then yeah, they were robbed.
No, but I agree with you. I agree with you on that. But if I'm put in a room with Angelina Jolie, it's not definite that she's going to come over to me and say, "Well, do you want to go out for a drink?" But it is likely. It is likely.
Remember the first game of the season, I think, that Man United at home to Wolves in the last minute, when the keeper took their
definitive
player out, right?
Definitive.
Now, that isn't corrupt. That was just another bad official decision, which should have been a penalty to Wolves. Now, if you're talking about corruption, who's it corrupt against? Man U, Liverpool, Spurs? We are talking about a decision yesterday where they have come out. I mean, I can't believe they've actually come out and said that the VAR officials thought that the on-field decision was a goal. It is the guy. If it's not okay, it's negligent.
It's not corrupt. Against Brentford last year, when we're 5 points clear, they didn't draw the lines when Tony was offside. They gave Arsenal an apology. What about your game against Brighton last year? I mean, that was another one. I know it made no difference to you and Brighton because we'll come on to the midweek European fixtures. It didn't make any difference to you, right? But that was another. And don't get me wrong, I know things have gone bad against Spurs. I've watched it, the dire handball against Newcastle during COVID, ridiculous decisions, and Spurs have had. That yesterday, I'm sorry, the game has to be replayed. Now, can we talk about the actual game?
Let's talk about the game. I've got to be honest.
Before the red card.
I've got to be honest, right? And in all due respect to Arsenal, I think Liverpool have been the best team we've played this season.
100%.
And they look, whether or not we would have beaten them if it was 11. I mean, we struggled against 10 men, right? We even struggled against 9 men, right? Because we couldn't break them down. They took off their forwards, they brought on defensive players, and we found it very, very hard to break them down. And they looked very good, right? They even looked very good with 10 men, I've got to be honest, because they played they didn't really change the way they played. They played not counter-attacking football, but they did catch us a few times when they went down to 10 men.
Let's the game after Jones gets sent off. Unfortunately for Spurs, it makes it harder for you to break them down. Yeah. Under 9 men, I didn't think you played well at all when it went down to 9 and 10. But before I've got the stats in front of me. Before it went to 10-11, Liverpool 7, Tottenham 1. Gakpo should have scored. Salah could have half scored. You had a little chance with Richarlison. They were superb. They are the best team that I've seen this season. I haven't seen City. I'm about to see them next week. They were superb. You played into their hands. Because that's the way you play. They have a superb selection of forwards. They're Hungarian boy. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name. Shlodrova or whatever. Superb. Defensively, they got behind you 3 or 4 times, and Vicario made a terrific. Well, I say a terrific save.
He made a double save, which Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a terrific save. Jake, my youngest, he thought it's a save he should be making.
No, it's a save he should be making because it was straight at him. And to be honest,
but what about the saves that Alisson made? One from Maddison and one from Son early in the second half.
As I said, I don't wish to talk about the game after Jones gets sent off. Yeah, superb. Listen, Tottenham after they get down to 10 men and Klopp's got a, what's he going to do? You're 1-0 down. It's not an easy place to go to. Tottenham are flying high with confidence, crowd behind them. The vibes, the energy of everything Tottenham are doing at the moment is positive. And I thought Liverpool were absolutely superb. But before the game, before the sending off, I was very impressed with Liverpool. And I was impressed with Liverpool after that. I thought. But if they'd won yesterday, they go top. And to be honest, I think they could stay there. I really do. Now we've got a title race on now. I think for Arsenal fans watching that game, and we're like, oh my God, you've won again in the last second. 9 men dancing, kids coming on, Basuma carrying his kid onto the pitch, Postecoglou doing a dance, you've beaten 9 men. Da, 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 da. I think long term that's a better result for Arsenal that Liverpool lost, because I actually think they are looking good. Van Dijk, not sure if he's as good as he was.
No, I don't think he is. I think
Matip was good.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say, there is, I think you alluded to it in previous podcasts, that there is something happening at Spurs. The atmosphere and the vibes, we don't stop, I don't think there's any coincidence that's our second last minute winner in consecutive home games. Yeah. The atmosphere, quite similar to where you were early last season, right? Yeah. You've got the crowd behind the manager, they're behind the players are united with the fans. The problem is, we are still a couple of injuries. Yesterday when we need a winner, we bring on Davis and Skip, right? We haven't got a big enough squad.
Let me ask you now.
Madison gets injured or Son gets injured, we're going to struggle. We haven't got the squad.
Let me ask you a question. Would you sell Maddison now, tonight, to bring back Harry Kane?
Yeah. I can't help but wondering what this team would do with Kane. But Maddison is phenomenal. That ball to Richarlison to open up.
But would you do it? Would you sell Maddison now for Harry Kane? I think it's a great question. Somebody asked me that yesterday.
It is a great question.
Yeah, I would. I still would, because I just think that, the low block game like yesterday, you struggled in. Maddison's not doing it because he, But anyway, look, the thing is
very quickly, just before we just come on to your game, and I think Ange alluded to it after the game, is we didn't use, especially when they went down to 9 men, we didn't use the width that well. When we play, and we've got wing backs, and funny enough, the only time when Porro did overlap Kulu, when he whipped it in, Matip put it into his own net. So I think we've got to learn. I think we've got to learn to play against 10 men better.
Well, you've got to learn, and in your case, 9 men. But I would say this: I would say Postecoglou needs to coach better at 9 men, because he can't come out and say you got to use the width better. You had to use the width. You've got 2 very good attacking fullbacks. Porro.
You know what it's like. As
it's bloody hard.
Newcastle against 10 men is hard.
It's hard.
We should have done better against 9. I do agree.
9, he's got to win the game.
I said to you, listen, in the 98th minute against Sheffield United, we were 1-0 down, and I was like panicking because I knew our next 2 games were you and Liverpool, and we ended up getting 7 points in the end. I was happy with 2 points from Arsenal, Liverpool. We've ended up getting 4. Now, we'll go on to next week's game shortly. I watched the first 15, 20 minutes of your game before leaving to Spurs. It obviously looked very comfortable. I presume it was.
Arsenal Bournemouth was Arsenal's most comfortable.
All your injuries obviously miraculously got better during Friday night.
I think Declan Rice proved yesterday that had he been on in the second half, we know what would have happened in the North London derby. No, listen, Arsenal played well. Bournemouth, as you know, you've played them. They were shocking. They offered nothing. Yeah. It wasn't really a test. They've got a couple of good players, Bournemouth. I don't think they'll go down.
Here's Saka's got a nasty knock.
Saka's got another knock. He left him on. I think it's a bruise, though. So hopefully, I don't know if he'll play on Tuesday night. We'll come on to the European fixtures in a minute, Jules.
Doesn't really need to, does he? European Conference.
Arsenal are and Nketiah played okay. That was a problem because he was okay. Played well, spreading the ball around, spreading the goals around as well. Comfortable defensively. Bournemouth not really giving us much. No, Arsenal played well. Listen, we haven't let in a goal away from home. We've played Everton, where we lost last year. Palace, where we always lose. Brentford, we always struggle in the cup.
Yeah, Brentford, they put a weak team out. I don't think you can judge that.
Full side.
Had quite favourable fixtures, really.
Full side Brentford had in the cup. Only missing Tony and me, like they did in a 2-2 draw against you. And the other game was yesterday, where I don't actually think David Raya had to make a save. So the Arsenal game yesterday was very comfortable. Obviously, we're going to know a lot more next week. Again, it will depend on the sides because Saka came off yesterday. I don't know if he'll play. Obviously, Partey's not fit. Martinelli's not fit. Trossard's not fit. Timber's not fit. But Manchester City are missing.
Before we go on to next week.
No, but what have I said just before we go on to next week? What have I said to you and a lot of people over the last 10 years? If you don't have your best players, Man City have not had Rodri in the last 2 games. What's happened?
Yeah.
What's happened in the last 2 games?
Yeah.
But no, Arsenal, very comfortable.
How did Havertz play?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just having a chat with one of my great friends in the gym about Havertz. He was okay. He said he played well yesterday. He was all right. He was all right. You know, it was certainly not 65 million. But in midweek, we played Emil Smith-Rowe, who was our best player probably 2 years ago. Fantastic young British player. And he looked he's busy. I want players. Look, not everybody can be like Maddison and Odegaard, who constantly want the ball. They drive forward. They're looking for things. Havertz looks like me and you are going out with, our wives stroke girlfriends on a Sunday afternoon in Primrose Hill having an ice cream. Yeah, he's too relaxed. I want him to be angry. Lovely touch to give him the penalty, though. I do think that shows. I mean, it doesn't show ruthlessness, but it shows a nice touch. He's off the mark, and we don't have Chelsea fans after every game going 001, 002, 004. But no, Arsenal are in an okay place with some important players to come back. So, but Sunday is going to be huge now. And again,
before we talk about Sunday, very quickly, the only sort of other quite big talking point from yesterday was United losing again.
Well, I'm glad. Sorry, yeah, I wanted to because
do you think that rules them out the top 4 now?
I'm glad you brought that up because Manchester United are in a shocking position at the moment, and I think that they bought Casemiro last year, and he was wonderful at the beginning. He was really good
this year, doesn't he?
Probably the best holding midfielder in maybe even in the world. And if you compare him to Bissouma, and then the 2 proper gurus, Rice and Rodri, you can't even forget it. Just forget it. He just looks shocking. Amrabat could be a decent player. Marcus Rashford don't even look, half the player he was last year.
Doesn't look interested.
And defensively, they're not good. So they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Chelsea had a good result in midweek against Brighton in the Cup, although look at Brighton yesterday. Absolutely spanked. And Villa are always a hard side to play against at Villa, always over the years. Yeah. And now they've got a manager who always is a good home manager. He struggles sometimes away from home, Unai, but at home he's a good manager. So
and Chelsea have some tough fixtures coming up. I mean, they're away to Fulham tomorrow, and then they've got you. I think they've got you coming up as well. They've got us.
They've got us. We're the first game. I think not. I don't know if we were the first game, but we've got them after the international break. So we've got Chelsea away. But I'm look, maybe it's a good time to play Chelsea away, because I've got to tell you, after January, they'll be a different side. They'll have Nkunku back. They'll have some players back. So maybe it's a good time to play them. I don't know. But yeah, listen, it's looking quite competitive, and it's going to be exciting. We forgot to mention the Carabao Cup. I know that you don't want to mention that because that was Angie's first big test.
The big teams don't take it seriously. You're lot obviously.
That's why Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool are, all through to the next round. We've got another away game against your mates, West Ham. Who will you be rooting for that night, West Ham, Arsenal in the Carabao Cup?
It's irrelevant to me. I won't even. I didn't know you played Brentford until Friday morning.
Before we talk about next week, I think it's only fair that we talk about the midweek fixtures and we look at, dissect who Spurs. We dissect who Spurs are playing. What do you think about the midweek fixtures?
I think we've got another blank week, Spurs, to prepare, because if we beat Luton, we go top, because you're playing City on the Sunday.
Who will you be wanting to win that game?
That after 7-8 games, A, we would be unbeaten, and B, I'd actually want Arsenal and Man City to draw to keep us potentially on top. You wouldn't be a Spurs fan if you didn't think Luton were going to win 1-0 next week.
Listen, you've as I've said, Luton, I think you're the first side. Seriously, I don't know if this is true. Somebody told me this. You're the first side that after 7 games in the season has played all the sides that have come up. It's incredible. It's incredible. You would have played Luton, Burnley, and Sheffield United in your first.
Meanwhile, we played Brentford away, you away, Man United, Liverpool. Have you played Liverpool yet? No. Have you played Spurs away yet? No.
Spurs away.
We played Spurs away.
At home. We played Spurs away last season. We know
you've actually had easier 7 fixtures than we have.
Tough games we've had. Yeah, and Luton, another.
Listen,
you're going to be top next. Is it Saturday 12:30? So come 2:30, you're going to be top.
Hopefully.
Surely anything but finishing top from there, you're going to feel you're going to feel shit. You ain't going to feel good.
The first podcast, you said in the summer, right? And I'll record it, and we may play it on next week's podcast.
I've got it.
You said if Kane goes, I fear for you.
Yeah, I do.
Those were your words.
But that's what I'm saying. I've been proved wrong. So when you go top next week against another relegation side, will you be feeling you're top? And you'll probably be top over the international break unless City beat us. And they could beat us. Let's be honest. They could definitely beat us next week.
No, because you're playing them at the most perfect time. No De Bruyne, no Rodri,
no Party,
Rodrigo,
no Timber.
It's the perfect time. You're at home.
No Martinelli.
Right, they've got a tough away. They've got a tough away game during the week.
Leipzig. Yeah. But listen. If you're top next week,
you're not playing a European conference team like your lot are.
When you go top next week, are you? What is the minimum?
If we go top,
what is the minimum you expect after that for the rest of the season? Because it's unlikely you'll win it. So are you going to be happy with top 4?
I'll be happy with top 6.
Really? Still playing it down?
We finished 8th last year with Kane. If we finish top 6, right? Not one pundit on Sky.
You sound like me on Twitter.
Football,
you sound like me on Twitter.
Finish top 6. Right? Your mate Merson. You know what he said. What did Merson say? All right. Apart from saying Arsenal were going to murder us, right, last week, he said we're finished mid-table. Listen, we may still, all right, we haven't got the squad. I think we've got a good 11, all right, but as you know, over 38 games, you need a squad, all right, and if we get
you do, but you're very, very listen, you're up against Arsenal, Liverpool. Let's be honest, almost definitely you're up against Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man City. We're all in Europe. We have bigger squads, but we're all in Europe. Spurs have a massive chance. They don't want to blow it because you're going to be in Europe next year. You can't not finish.
Hold on, you finished 8th once, right? No European football, and you finished 8th again the following season. So nothing's guaranteed.
completely different. We hadn't spent
Why?
£1
Of
billion
course it's
on a
different because
new
it's
stadium
Arsenal.
and all of that. You know,
Oh.
no. Very, very, very different. Toxic, a toxic club. Arteta's, you can't even compare them. What he's done and remember, he won a trophy straight away. People forget that with Mikel. Postecoglou's got to win the FA Cup.
You will win the league. You've got a £1 billion squad, right?
We've made that. We haven't spent it. He's got.
Well,
if you think last year, I mean, you think last week,
Arteta
Saka
spent nearly 700 million since taking over.
Nketiah and Jesus didn't cost as much as your front three last, and you're not even in Europe.
Rice cost more than Basuma, Sarr, and Maddison.
Didn't play the second half. Didn't play. That's why you held on.
Maddison got taken out last week. He had to go off. Son had to go off.
For the last 10 minutes.
Had to come off.
I mean, imagine Martinelli.
He should have been down to 10 men.
If Martinelli had been
running. We won yesterday because we dropped 2 points against you.
Martinelli literally running at Porro. He would have had both fullbacks. It's sickening. It's sickening the luck the Spurs have had to start this season. But you know what? Good luck to you. I can only see it, but you'll be top. I'm going to have to live with you coming on next week, saying you're top over the international break.
Listen, you finished second last year. Anything other than finishing first?
I think we'll finish top three. But going back to next week, Luton, I have to be honest with you. Apart from the odd footage, I haven't actually seen anything of them, so I don't know.
I haven't seen too much of them. I've saw the goals last night against Everton, and
terrific result.
I know we disagree about Everton. I still think Everton will go down. I think they're shocking, and that was a poor result for Everton at home to Luton. Obviously, we should win next week, right? But listen, I'm not Spurs. I'm not going to be arrogant. We've got.
I don't know them. I don't know.
If we turn up with that attitude, we're going to win. We'll come unstuck. We've seen it so many times with Spurs. But it's difficult. Newly promoted teams are sometimes a bit tricky.
And they will play the low block.
Round.
They will play the low block against you, like Sheffield United did. And actually, something that I haven't realised. Sorry, I haven't realised it. You're not definitely going to be top of the league after our game, are you? Because if we win, it will come down to goal difference. Because I noticed yesterday we've now caught up.
If we win, all right, we'll go.
It will come down to how much we win by. Yeah. So we're equal.
I think you'll win next week because you're the home side, right? You've just dropped 2 points at home against us, so you've got the advantage. No De Bruyne, no Rodrigo. They'll probably pick up a couple of injuries during the week. They won't get back until early Thursday morning from Germany. So it's.
You think we're going to win?
You'll rest everyone for who are you playing?
Lons.
Very good. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one.
Are you? Do you think you'll rest the team midweek?
I think the team probably will have their legs up until Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they'll finish their little rest.
I mean, is it 5 bookings, by the way? Is it 10 bookings? Because I've noticed Adogi already 4, Basuma 4, Romero 4. Is it? No, I'm actually not taking the mickey. Is it 4 or 10 before you get suspended? I don't actually know the rule.
I think it's 5, isn't it?
And you get suspended.
Yeah, I think you missed a game.
I think you'll win. I think you'll win 2-0. That's my prediction. I don't know. The truth is I haven't seen much of Luton. Arsenal, Man City, I think we could win, actually. I actually do think we could win because I admit Rodri is the most ultimate midfielder. And without him, they are struggling a bit. My worry is you could have beaten us. United could have beaten us. Forest could have got a draw. For some reason, away from home, we look solid. We really do. And at home, I get the Spilkers. I just don't know what's going on with us at home. I think maybe that we've got too much of an atmosphere. I don't know. So exciting next week. I'm going to be away. I'm going to be doing the podcast from the sea. So I'm looking forward to that. And
hopefully not in it.
Correct. I look forward to, we'll obviously speak during the week and we'll look at how, Arsenal Spurs have done in the European games. And we'll go from there. What are your predictions?
I I think we'll win 2-0 at Luton, and I think you'll beat City 2-1.
So you will be top then by a goal.
Well, yes. Listen, it's 7-8 games. It's
the goal difference is it, but it's important not to get, because Man City last year, they were always like, it's incredible. They're like, I look at the goal difference after 10 games, and even though we were like 5 points ahead of them, plus 78. They're incredible. But that was a good result yesterday.
All right. Well, I think that's all we've got time for today's episode. It's been.
Just let me know about the invitation to replay the game, Jules. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll let you know. It's if you haven't got it by say midday tomorrow, ring me.
I will.
Have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Lots of love.